Former President Donald Trump claiming over the weekend that he will be arrested tomorrow on charges by the Manhattan DA, which is investigating his involvement in a hush money payment. Chief Washington correspondent John Carl is tracking this story. John, good morning.
Good morning, Whit. The only person saying that Donald Trump will be arrested tomorrow is Donald Trump. And Trump's own spokesperson says that they have not been notified of any pending arrests. Nevertheless, local and federal law enforcement are on alert this morning because Trump has called on his supporters to go out and protest and, quote, take our nation back. Donald Trump is making another claim without any evidence, but this time the former president's words are sparking fears of violence. Over the weekend, Trump claimed he will be arrested tomorrow, indicted by the Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg, for charges related to hush money payment he made to porn star Stormy Daniels. ABC News has not verified his claims, and Trump hasn't said why he thinks he'll be arrested tomorrow. His own spokesman said they have received no notice from the DA's office. Trump has acknowledged paying Daniels $130,000, payment he allegedly concealed in the final days of the 2016 campaign, violating election laws and falsifying documents. Trump originally denied any knowledge of the payment.
Did you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels?
But his former lawyer, Michael Cohen, pleaded guilty to federal campaign finance violations in 2018, admitting to helping arrange the payment. Cohen tells George he's absolutely prepared to testify against Trump.
All the information that is needed in order to create the indictment to get a prosecution and a conviction is in the hands of the district attorney.
Bragg's office has not commented, but the DA told staff in an email obtained by ABC News, "We do not tolerate attempts to intimidate our office or threaten the rule of law in New York." Already Republicans are rushing to his defense.
Another politically charged prosecution directed at the former president of the United States.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is even vowing to investigate the Manhattan DA's office, although he is saying that people shouldn't go out to protest.
I don't think people should protest this, no. And I think President Trump, if you talk to him, he doesn't believe that either.
It's not clear what Kevin McCarthy is talking about there. Over the weekend, Trump at least twice, called on his supporters to go out and protest what he is calling a political prosecution. Trump is also demanding that his potential rivals for the Republican nomination also denounce the Manhattan District Attorney. Most have, but one who has said nothing about this, at least not yet, is Ron DeSantis. Michael?
All right, John, all this is kind of confusing. We're going to bring in Aaron Katersky for more on all of this. And good morning to you, Aaron. And Aaron, the president, he said the arrest would come Tuesday, but you're learning the investigation isn't even wrapped up yet.
It's not, Michael. In fact, the grand jury today is expected to hear from a new witness, Bob Costello, an attorney and longtime Trump ally who used to represent Michael Cohen. And in a letter to prosecutors obtained by ABC News, Trump's legal team asked for Costello to be allowed to testify, we're told, because they said that Cohen once told Costello that Trump committed no crime. Cohen told us he has been asked to be on standby for possible rebuttal testimony, Michael.
Aaron, give us a reality check. What happens if an indictment does come down? What would that look like?
It's going to be unprecedented, of course, but every white-collar criminal defendant in New York is given the chance to surrender, come in, be photographed, be fingerprinted. Of course, Trump is unlike any other criminal defendant because his surrender would have to be coordinated with the U.S. Secret Service. So far, we're told the DA's office has given the agency no indication or notice that an indictment is coming. However, I'm told the courts and the police are starting to talk about security, especially, Michael, because Trump is talking about protest.
All right, Aaron Katersky, thank you again.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more...
Shalom. Give all praise Yahweh Shem Yoshua Shem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, men, truth on down, regarding truth and knowledge and thought. And the Wadi Yahweh Shem Yoshua put in the spirit of the elders and apostles, men, and truth on down, regarding truth and knowledge. So we can know this truth and knowledge. Call holy Yahweh Shem Yoshua Shem Rakakadash. Give all praise Yahweh Shem Yoshua Shem Rakakadash. It relates to ex-President Donald Trump claims about his arrest being imminent, which is near or pending or pending, but it's not based on anything. You know what I mean? That was an ABC news report. Plus, what it says in that report, nobody got notified regarding that as well. Get a word here, bread and circus.
Bread and circuses.
Bread and circuses, a diet of entertainment and political policies, in which the masses are fed to keep them happy and docile. So it's pretty much to a form of deflection and distraction, man. Let me get that word docile. Docile means ready to accept control or infrastructure or submissive. Let's get it, docile.
Docile.
All right, docile. Ready to accept control or instructions. Submissive. Compliant, obedient, pliant, dutiful, willing. So, through these political circuses or circus, is used to pretty much keep the people under the spell, under the spell of being submissive to these other foolishness, man, which is the bread and circus, man. You know, just things that are really not really super important, man. You know, let's get another word. Deflection.
Deflection.
Action, a process of deflecting or being deflected, turning, diversion. Here we go. Diversion.
Diversion.
An instance of turning something aside from its course. So, in a matter of speaking, deflecting, to attack or blame another person, rather accepting criticism or blame for your own actions, man. So, deflecting is pretty much taking it off the source where it should be, the source and the chieftain, and putting it on something that's irrelevant. Not even where it should be, man. You know what I mean? It really is to take off the onus and blame off a person, place, and thing, and put it on something else. So that has nothing to deal with that, man. That's what that is. You know. And for example, that deflection. In this society, there's a lot of deflection. A lot of people take off certain things, put it on other things that has no basis, no relevance of that to really, so they don't to honor culpability or responsibility for their actions, man. And that's what that deflection is, man. When someone deflects, they are trying to feel less guilty, man. Avoid negative consequences and put blame on others. So they trying to take that blame, they try to subtract or minus that blame and responsibility that's really on that main source, which is that product, which is that person, and put it on somebody else, man, because they don't want to take on that guilt and the responsibility of the guilt and blame and onus accordingly, man. All right, Shalak. And we seeing a lot of bread and circus relating to this. For example, this is just another pony show, man. You know what I mean? Pony political and pony theater and political tactics, man, to deflect on what's really going on. For example, the financial situation, man. that's a more pressing issue, man, because that's pretty much a very important thing, man. So they deflected on have the people become docile, be under the spell, the spell and the witchcraft of these other non-important things to pretty much take their attention off the real relevant things, man, such as what's going on economically, for example. So things like this, for example. I'm going to get some scriptures too. There's another word I want to look. Let me see up. The word transference. Let me see. Transference occurs when a person redirects some of their feelings, desires for another person to an entirely different person. So it's transferring to another person that has nothing to do with that, man. I use that word because that's a more psychological, pretty much transferring relating to our feelings and desires, and really, in a matter of speaking, they're transferring relating to, like previously, certain things that they don't want to identify as the reality, man. You know what I mean? So they do anything to deflect or take off from acknowledging that, man. And for example, that men and women, man, women are notorious for that. Men too. Some men do that too, but women are really notorious for that. Transference occurs when a person redirects some of their feelings, desires for another person to an entirely different person. That relates to more of a psychological aspect. Example, transference when you observe characteristics of your father and a new boss. Your attribute fatherly feelings to a new boss. They can be good or bad. So that's a more therapeutic psychological aspect, but it's just transferring from different things to other sources that are not related to the actual chieftain of problem, man. Let's get some scriptures. All right, let's go to Matthew 25 and 26. Yahushua knew what they were thinking. This is GNT. So he said unto them, any country that divides itself into groups which fight each other will not last long. And that's that division, man. And any town or family that divides itself into groups which fights each other will fall apart. So that's the division, man. So that's ultimately what's happening, man. That fracturing of division is being set forth, that crack. Just like from an earthquake, when you see that crack, man. That crack is division. The crack relating to this rulership, man. That the line is beginning to manifest and show, man. So you seeing that crack being manifested, man. That division, man. So if one group is fighting another in Satan's kingdom, this means that it's already divided into groups and will soon fall apart. So the division between, for example, different groups, different sect of groups, Republican, Democrats, the rich, the poor, different groups, facet groups, whether social, racial, all these divisions. The Egyptian versus the Egyptian, 19:1 and 2. We'll get that one too. So you seeing all the division being set forth, man. The divide being set forth. Shalak. Let's go to go to three 26. So if Satan's kingdom, that's the carnal counterpart, who's Satan's kingdom. That's the carnal counterpart who's in the position of power on earth. If Satan's kingdom divides into groups, it cannot last, but will fall apart and come to an end. Read 25. If a family divides itself into groups, which fights each other, that family will fall apart. So if Satan's kingdom divides into groups, it cannot last but fall apart and come to an end. That's what's happening, man. So all these factions and groups, the division, these separations is ultimately going to cause the division and ultimately a collapse, man. You know, and you're seeing that from a social, economical. Let me get 11 real quick. 11 and 17. I think it's 17. Yahushua knew they were thinking, so he said unto them, any country that divides itself into groups which fights each other will not last very long. A family divided against itself falls apart, man. So if Satan's kingdom has groups fighting each other, how can it last? So you have all these groups, division of groups, man. Ultimately, it's not going to last, man. Same language, 11. Matthew's, Luke 11, Mark 3, and Matthew 12. Similar language. So you're seeing the division, man. You're seeing this division. Go to 19:1 and 2, man. Go to 19:1 and 2. 19:1 and 2. Isaiah 19:1 and 2. 1. You want to get it from a GNT, see what it says. It's number 2. The Lord said, I will stir up civil war in Egypt and turn brother against brother, neighbor against neighbor. Rival cities will fight each other. Rival kings will struggle for power. So that's part of that division, the civil war. Egypt lays here, Babylon. And turn brother against brother. Go to Matthew's 10. Your own household, a man's household will be, enemy will be in a man's own household, man. You know? So that's that division, man. Think not that I come to send peace, but say nay, but rather division. Luke 12 and 51, man. So that's part of that, man. I will stir up civil war among the people, turn brother against brother, family members against family members, neighbors against neighbors. Rival cities will fight each other. So rival cities, rival kingdoms will fight each other. Rival kings, and they will fight each other what? For power, man. So they're gonna fight each other for power, man. To struggle for power. Let me see. I'm going to frustrate the plans of the Egyptians and destroy their morale. The part of destroying that morale is right here. Part of destroying that morale is causing the division, man. Sending that spirit of division upon the vibration of that division upon the place, man. And they will ask their idols to help, and they will go to council mediums and ask the spirits of the dead for advice. So they're going to go to wannabe familiar spirits and other forms of necromancy and witchcraft to find a solution to this divided problem, man, or their problems, man. Right here. And I will hand the Egyptians over to a tyrant, to a cruel king, who will rule them, and I, the Lord Almighty, have spoken. So a tyrant, a ruthless tyrant, a king, a cruel king is going to rule over the people. So, and that's the one in position of power. For Proverbs 29:2 talks about, for when the righteous are in authority, people rejoice, but when the wicked bear rule, people mourn. So the wicked is that cruel king, that cruel tyrant king who's going to be in the position of power. And being he's in a position of power, the people are going to mourn, man. More goes to lament him, man. Why? Because he's in the position of power, man. Go to Ecclesiastes 10:1, talking about the difference between a wise magistrate or a wise king. Wise magistrate relating to the power of a wise king, or unwise magistrate relating to an unwise king. So the difference between them two, 10:1 through 4. You know what I mean? So the people are going to follow after the manner of the ones in the position of power. That's Ecclesiastes or Sirach 10:1 through 4. So you're seeing the setup of relating to that, man. You're seeing part of that as the division. Think not that I come to send peace. I say nay, but rather division, man. So let's get that Luke 12:51. I'll get a GNT. GNT stands for the Good News Translation. Give a different, verbal interpretation, I guess. Do you suppose that I come to bring peace to the world? It's a question. No, not peace, but division. So the Lord is saying, he's asking that question. Am I bringing peace to the world? No, the Lord is saying, no, rather I'm bringing division. So he's bringing the spirit of division upon the people, man. He's spending that spirit of division. That's part of what has to happen, man. Let me get Matthews real quick. And you see in division, protests all over in various diversity of countries all over the world, from Kenya to Italy, from France to Spain to India to Iran to Israel, all these countries, man, here in America. So the Lord, that division is being set forth, man. I'll go to number 7. I'll start at 6. You're going to hear of noises, of battles close by, and news of battles far away. That news goes to gossip, goes to rumors, man. But do not be troubled. Be not troubled, be not perplexed, be not dismayed, marvel not. So don't be surprised. Such things must happen, but they do not mean that the end has come, because these are part of things that has to go, has to be fulfilled, has to be, as prophesied, it has to be fulfilled to take place, man. 7. Countries will fight each other, kingdoms will attack one another, There will be famines and earthquakes everywhere. All these things are like the pains of childbirth, which are the birth pangs. So all these things got to have kingdom against kingdom, countries against country, city against city, neighbor against neighbor, fellow rivals versus fellow rivals. So division is part of what has to happen, man. But it's not that doesn't mean it's the end yet, because these things have to come to pass, man. Famines, earthquakes, all different things, man. This is something short. I didn't want to make it too long. I want to give all praise Yahweh B'Shem Yoshai B'Shem Rakakadash. Hope it helps Zayah Wolf. Hope it helps Shalom. Thanks.